From England, there are two main routes. The first is by air direct to Geneva, which is only about 1 hour from Montreux, and the second is by rail or car through Paris. If you want to, you can continue south afterwards through the Grand St. Bernard Pass to places like Turin and Genoa. And the same route is the gateway to Milan, Venice, Florence, and, of course, Rome. The quickest route from England, therefore, is by air via Geneva, but the slower and more pleasant way from there is by boat along the shores of Lake Geneva. Right now it's spring, and as you check into your hotel, your first thought will be to get out and enjoy everything. The fresh air, the flowers, the lake, the mountains, and, yes, even the celebrities. One celebrity you can always see is Empress Elizabeth of Austria, who was a regular visitor some 100 years ago. From England, of course, came Shelley and Byron, and the latter left his trademark in quite a big way, as you'll see later on. If you've brought the family with you, there's plenty for the children to do, so let them play on the seesaw while you study the early magnolia blossom. Most of the hotels are set in gardens, which are ideal for these potential basketball champions to train in. The weather is free of fog and very mild all the year round, which will give you a very healthy appetite, so you better bring enough money to keep the little ones in patisserie, which are a Swiss speciality. The lakeside promenade is bordered with flowers for over 3 miles, a perfect walk and not a car in sight. Now is the time to find out whether you're a true horticulturist or not. Which do you find the more attractive, the pink blossom or the chestnut brunette? Swimming starts early, and you can either plunge into the lake or this heated open-air swimming pool, which is open from April until October. There are various good reasons for using the pool, but these two should be good enough for anybody. If you're the real energetic type, forget the pool and head for the lake, where you can swim as far as you like, 36 miles to be exact. If you're not so energetic, why not sunbathe on the hotel terrace? And you can do that even in April here. Now this pretty little lady is Marie Claire. Montreux is her hometown, as a matter of fact, and Mummy and Auntie have persuaded her to take some fresh air today. They brought the pram just in case, but Marie Claire is very independent and decides to walk everywhere. She also knows her own mind, and if you want to take her picture, like all pretty little ladies, you have to bribe her with a barley sugar. You'll notice there are a lot of flowers here. To the tourist, they are a delight. To Marie Claire, well, she just gets a kick out of them. Daddy, meanwhile, is slogging it out at the office. Or is he? There are 4 golf courses around Montreux, so if you do badly on one, you always have the excuse of going on to the next. But there are plenty of other things to see near the town. In less than an hour, that train will take you from 1,000 feet, which is the lake shore level, to 6,700 feet, the top of the Rocher de Ney. Here you'll find the Alpine Gardens, the highest flower garden in Europe. It has a selection of all those flowers growing in the Alps, plus some from the Himalayas, which are the result of seeds brought back by a Swiss mountaineering expedition. Little Marie Claire was strolling around the gardens, and taking her picture unawares seemed like a piece of cake. But that's exactly what it costs in the end. If you're trying to impress your girlfriend, hire a British sports car and take the main route south over the Grand St. Bernard Pass. A new tunnel is under construction here, which burrows its way through the mountain into Italy. And if you do drive over the top of the pass, you'll be able to see what has made the name St. Bernard world famous. The St. Bernard dog, renowned for rescue work and trained by the monks from the monastery of the same name. If you're keen on going higher, there's always Chenolette, which is 8,750 feet up. From here, you can see 3 countries in one glance. But if she's still not impressed, take her on a day's trip to Aiguille du Midi, above Chamonix, which is just across the border in France. You'll find the top of Mont Blanc right in front of you, and the view extends over the whole Alps as far as the Matterhorn. Yes, it's late spring skiing up here in the mountains, demonstrated by Marie Claire's grown-up sister Claudette. But that doesn't mean it's cold. Back on the lakeshore, water skiing is going on at the same time. If you're a good snow skier, you'll end up at the bottom of the mountain on your own 2 feet. But with water skiing, whichever way you look at it, you're bound to end up soaking wet. Meanwhile, just to prove our point, Claudette has come down to show what she can do on water skis. It's not an expensive sport, as many people think, so even if you've never tried it before, why not learn here? But this isn't the only way of getting out on the lake. You can try a leisurely cruise on one of the lake steamers. In fact, Marie Claire insisted on coming on this trip so she could have a look at how her sister was getting on. The sun is pretty warm even this early in the year, and for ladies who don't want their bouffants bleached, a hat is the only solution. Eventually, the local steamer glides back into port, but poor Marie Claire is led off in disgrace. She threw her hat into the lake. However, not all the younger generation is so full of life. This pert young miss prefers the scent of the garden flowers and lounging about in the sun. Anglers will please note that there is plenty of fishing, but not in the hotel fish pond if you don't mind. If you think afternoon dancing is unusual, you can see it any day on the casino terrace here. However, most people like to do their dancing later at night. Every hotel has a bar, and there are several restaurants and nightclubs where you'll always find the staff speak English. The speciality is to dine by candlelight. Later, you should go on to the Chez Fourchette, a wine cellar where the dancing and the music is typically local. You're even given a souvenir glass, so that you can later remember what you may have forgotten. The wine comes from the vineyards on the slopes around Montreux. This is the center of the Swiss wine-growing area, which is further proof of the mildness of the climate. It is now October, and the grape picking season. But you'll notice that it's still warm enough to make this pretty picker wear her straw hat to protect her from the sun. And this vineyard is called Travelogue Castle, and gives its name to the best wine in the area. If you're lucky enough to be here in the autumn, come up and watch the whole process of picking, storing, and fermenting. You might even eat a few grapes on the fly. Now you've seen how much there is to do in Montreux, you still won't be able to resist lazing around in these beautiful, healthy surroundings. Last but not least, perhaps the most famous attraction of all, the Castle of Chillon. Built in the 13th century, jutting out into the lake, it was immortalized by an Englishman, Lord Byron, when he wrote his poem, The Prisoner of Chillon. You too may become a prisoner here, but only in the sense that once you've arrived, you'll find it very hard to tear yourself away from one of Switzerland's most beautiful resorts, Montreux.